Stacey, I'm going to go with you first. What do you think about this debate that is going on?
I actually like the idea. I don't think it should be called adult contemporary. Like there doesn't need to be that classification of it. But if we can have R&B, and then we can have R&B soul, and we can have neo soul, and we can have traditional R&B, why can't we break hip hop up? Because isn't you have hip hop, and then we also we say hip hop and rap
and trap.
That way. So like we already have subgenres. We've already been doing that already. So why can't we continue to do that? Like why can't there be a traditional hip hop? Why not? If we want to have that traditional hip hop, if there's drill music, if there's trap music, if there's what was they calling it? Backpack rap. If we can have
the boom bap,
right? So
underground,
right? Underground. Have all of those subgenres.
Gangster rap.
Like gangster rap is a subgenre of hip hop.
So what would Luke be considered? Was that Miami bass? Was that
Miami bass?
Yeah, and then you got crunk.
We already have all of these subgenres. So the issue is that they just don't want to give the older generation or the older artists a different category. Now, like I said, I don't agree with calling it adult contemporary because even with the adult contemporary we all know and love, right? With the Elton Johns and Ambrosia and all of that, but it had nothing to do with an age. It just was the music type, right? And that you end up with a whole station of adult contemporary music or soft rock or yacht rock or whatever you want to call it. But it's not a problem. Like nobody cares. We are the only ones who really try to differentiate with age. We don't differentiate based on other genres. Differentiate based on the style. Trying to separate because of age. And it doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that there's a reason that a 22-year-old can't make a traditional hip hop album.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And when you say adult contemporary, I just think of VH1 before Flavor Flav.
Yeah. What adult contemporary is, if you're in St. Louis, it is KEZK 102.5.
KZK.
So that's what it is. That's adult contemporary soft rock. So that's what that genre looks like. But again, if we did it for hip hop, like I said, it doesn't have to be an adult thing. You can just, if you want to focus on a specific style, you can call it traditional hip hop.
Yeah, because they just want to make it seem like, this is what the old niggas listen to. They want to listen to these words. We just trying to vibe. That's all the young kids gonna say. Like, man, I ain't trying to hear what they got to say.
Right? You just you be listening, to what they say. Like, okay, so they be using whole words, and these niggas be having shit to say for real. Like, yeah, sorry that I actually listen to the words of songs.
Yeah, some of these songs tell stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Makes you think.
Right. Sometimes they actually have things to share. Like
gives you insight on things you never thought about.
Right. They drop gems sometimes. Right. And you imagination. You catch something that you didn't hear before, and you're like, man, that person is really talented. Because of the words that they used. But
do you think that it would change hip hop's scale, or would it just be? I mean, I do think that we should have it, but I know because a lot of people say, well, that would give other artists that are doing traditional hip hop or something along those lines more of an opportunity to be at the top of the charts. But I mean, that's like a bluegrass chart. I mean, it's still the bluegrass charts. There's not going to be a lot of sales there. If there's not a lot of sales there, you're at the top of the bluegrass charts. That's cool, I guess. But are you? What is it to say? And I guess that's the debate.
So, like Killer Mike won Album of the Year. Would he be considered that adult contemporary if we was to?
That's a good question. And you can be in both. You can be like you can be Just like you can be on the R&B charts and the pop charts and the hip hop charts. If you,
it
doesn't mean that you have to be.
Because I noticed, like with Nicki Minaj, they've been kind of moving her in different categories, like probably within the last few years. Because
she keeps getting moved. What was the issue was that she got moved.
It was like during the Grammys, yeah. Because
they put her to the pop category or something like that, but she can't get mad at that. You're putting out pop albums, so like. Again, don't be upset at your choices, like and the consequences of your choices. So if you continuously put out pop albums, yes, you will get categorized as pop.
Yeah.
If you're putting out rap, it will be rap. So have some things being miscategorized? Yeah, possibly. But again, if your album is if it's pop, it's pop. That's it. And it's not just, pop has no longer just short for popular music. There is absolutely a formula for pop music.
That's a pop sound now.
Like there's absolutely, and there's been a pop sound for a very, very long time. There's absolutely been a pop sound.
Just the 80s.
80s. I'll say 80s. I'll definitely say.
Yes. Oh yeah. 80s. Yeah. I agree.
Definitely since the 80s, there's been you can really define the pop sound. 60s and 70s, it didn't really have a formula for it at all. There was so much experimentation with things that people were doing, but by the 80s, it was like, nah, if you do this and this and that, you got to hit record, and that's when that started. So yeah, I don't think that. But even with that, with pop, I wonder is there a traditional pop category?
Ooh, I don't know about that.
Because I mean, what would be traditional pop now?
Traditional pop is Western pop music that generally predates the advent of rock and roll in the mid 1950s. So traditional pop
be like Beyonce.
So again, I don't think that there's a category for it at this point, but that traditional pop would be that original definition of popular music. So yeah, the most popular and enduring songs from this era are known as pop standards or American standards. The works of these great songwriters and composers are usually considered part of the canon, known as the Great American Songbook, blah, 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 blah. So those are, it's Frank Sinatra's Dinah Shore, Perry Como, Peggy Lee, like Bing Crosby, Dean Martin, and then even into the 50s and 60s, Louis Armstrong, Nat King Cole, Nancy Wilson. So that was pop at that time. And then
Temptation was considered pop in the 60s at some point, like crossing over like Just My Imagination and My Girl, stuff like that.
So that would have been it. So then once it was, this goes into the advent of rock and roll, blah, 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 blah.
And then the Supremes with some of their stuff, it crossed over.
Aretha Franklin.
Aretha Franklin definitely went pop. Would crossed over and went pop in the 60s and 70s.
This doesn't dig into crossovers or that crossover, but essentially, but again, so to answer my question, yes, there is a such thing as traditional pop. Oh, that's interesting. It said the appearance of the lounge subculture in the mid 1990s in the United States helped to enhance the revival and interest in the music style and performers of popular music before rock and roll, which is and I do remember that. And when swing came back, like and everybody, the swing era came back.
Oh, like Louis Vega, was it Louis
like
Vega and all them?
Like that was
Lou Cantrell.
Lou Cantrell, yeah. You right, that Blue Cantrell.
Yeah, the Bossa Nova, all of that, around all of that resurgence. But anywho, I think, and then adult contemporary is a form of radio played popular music ranging from 1960s vocal and 1970s soft rock music. So again, when I said adult contemporary, I was right, but I don't think we should call it that. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, there is an urban adult contemporary? Hold, please.
Urban?
Hold, please.
Is that basically neo soul?
Hold, please. Urban Adult Contemporary is the name for a format of radio music similar to urban contemporary format. The radio stations using this format usually would not have hip hop music on their playlist and generally include some mix of contemporary R&B and traditional R&B.
Actually, SZA.
It is. I'm trying to get.
No, this is basically.
Name.
If anybody from the Chicago people know, this V103 in Chicago, all the hits in the Dusties. That's what it sounds like. All the hits in the Dusties. If you over 35, 40, that's what that category sounds like. We don't want rap category from what Stacey just described. Like, we don't want rap.
Magic 108 before 6 o'clock.
There we go.
Hey, this cool ass Scott from the I Love 90s Music Podcast. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like it on the SOLC Network. You finna get all the real deal on the 90s, the 2000s, and the splash of that 80s. Do it right now, man, and I'll be your friend.